Hello guys, it's Dim and fuck it, I am going to record something that will be really useful. Today we're gonna talk about talking with girls on the street. And what's the purpose of this episode? It is, for me, firstly, to listen to on repeat while I'll try to approach girls, while I will be walking on the street with the intent of it. And so that is a lot of this will be taken from Andy from Kill Your Inner Loser, and that will be probably a compilation of the stuff that I think will help me and I hope help you as well. So, firstly, get out there, get out of the house. That is the first step you should take. If you want to approach girls, if you want to meet them, if you want to have an awesome relationships in your life, if you want to have an awesome sex life, if you just want to meet a bunch of cute and sexy girls, first step is to dress, get out of the house, and start thinking about it. Go out there with the intention of approaching girls, of talking to them. It doesn't matter if you will succeed, if you will talk to someone. I want you to think about this as your goal. Your goal is to be out there with the intention of talking to girls. That is all that matters now. Now, it will be better if you will go and approach the more girls you will approach, the more experience will you get, the more better you will become, and the more results will you have, right? But the main thing is, if you are there, if you were walking for 4 or 5 hours and couldn't approach, it doesn't matter if you didn't do any approaches in your life, or you're just a little bit rusty, or just doesn't feel like it. It doesn't matter, just stay out there, and then repeat again the next earliest time possible. I want you to make it your mission for a near future. I want you just to be there. As Andy says, be on the front lines. Be there with this intention in mind. Feel this anxiety. Feel this nervousness. If you can overcome it, if you can still approach girls with it, do it. But if you don't, if you will be just standing there, each girl that you will see who you will really like, who will really you be really attracted to, if every one of these girls will cause you to just stand in the middle of a street just thinking and trying to convince yourself how to approach her, if you will look a little bit dumb from outside and maybe you cannot even do that and you just keep walking, keeping in mind that, oh, I could have approached this girl, like, and thinking about it, why you didn't. Like, that is the good exercise as well, like thinking about um, like trying to learn how your mind works, what the excuses you come up with, and not trying to beat yourself up for it, but just keeping that in mind. So when the next time it comes up, it doesn't matter specifically that you will be able to approach any of the girls like that. You won't be able to use that excuse. No, you probably will, but it will be a little bit easier to overcome, and with some experience you will eventually do that. So what I also want you to what just the notion of this episode is, what I want you to keep in mind is staying out there, thinking about it, walking out there, or just staying with the intention is enough. I would recommend walking as much as you can, because it gets you into this dynamic state that it's easier to, transfer momentum into, even if you need to at some point just take 180 and just go back and chase after some girl. Like, it doesn't really matter. You will still have some momentum, because what I noticed, if I just stand there for 5 or 10 minutes, doesn't matter why, even if I am specifically looking for the girls I can approach, like, this looking for targets and all, it can make you a little bit uh, stagnant. It's harder to force yourself to push myself to approach someone. It can be still a good solution, because it's like, if it is a really popular place, standing there for a couple of minutes and just observing what girls come pass you by, and I usually found it easier to find girls to approach. When I'm walking, I can only see some that go like towards me, right? I cannot see everyone that walks with me in the line, but when you're standing somewhere from outside, you can see everyone. So it can be useful, just if you start feeling that your energy starts to go away, you start being more like, depressive, complacent, you want to just end it, you want to distract yourself with anything else, go back and start walking again. Go back to the people. Another point I want you to try to do, is to keep eye contact. I know how devastating it can feel. I know how hard it is to keep eye contact with girls that pass you by who are really attractive. Especially if they are not alone, especially if they are with a couple of friends. For me, I still cannot do it properly usually, especially if there are many of them. I feel this a lot of judgment into my side if I try to force myself to look at them. But at the same time, sometimes it's just like, again, keep that intention in mind and just try to perfect yourself. Try to make a better, try to make it happen, right? Try to look in the eyes of passing girls and try to connect with them on this. If you will look away every time, that is okay as well. Just keep looking and keep experiencing this anxiety that you feel. Now, talking about this anxiety, this response, this rush of all of this nervousness when you almost decided that, okay, I'm gonna go after her, or I'm gonna meet her and I'm gonna say something to her. I want you to start liking this anxiety. Even if it still stops you, even if we are still thinking about it like something that it would have been better if we didn't have it. But this anxiety is the first step that you are taking already. If just compare the things, like compare two situations. When you walk in there, you see some girl that you're really attracted to, and you don't feel this. You just keep walking, you didn't even stop, and you, in your mind, you're like, okay, that girl was cute, I probably should have talked to her, and I didn't even push myself anywhere. Okay, there will be other changes. It's still good. You're still there. But the one more step that you can take, if you will actually try to convince yourself, to push yourself to go talk with her. And that's where this anxiety comes up usually, right? And it will stop you probably. Like, it's okay if it does, but it's like, when you're already feeling it, it's like you're definitely there. You're definitely before her. You're putting yourself out there. You are vulnerable. you fully open, you feel these emotions that you have. And that is really important. That is what needs to be practiced here. And it doesn't matter if it will stop you every time. Just be there, stay there. It can take you a couple of days of going out there and trying to approach. It may take you weeks. It doesn't matter. If you will experience this anxiety feeling every time and won't be beating yourself up for it, if you won't consider it negative, if you just will feel that, and you can even laugh at it afterwards, like, oh, that is so interesting how this girl must have been really cute, or like, oh, like it is something that I really want. I wanted it so much that I pushed myself so much, and I felt a lot of this nervousness. I thought how I would come up, but I still felt it all, right? And I want you to think about it as something that is really good, as something that it's one step closer to what you actually want, to go there and talk with some girls. And yeah, and just try to feel that as much as you can. If that is the most you can do, it is still a huge step forward. Again, don't beat yourself up if you cannot do even that. Just keep going out, keep being out of the house with the intention of talking to girls, stay on the front lines, and push yourself, like, mentally as much as you can, right? That is all that's required. And it doesn't matter how many approaches you actually do, how many these final pushes you try to make, it doesn't matter. Just stay out there for as long as you can, and eventually you will make it happen. Now, when you actually, either it was your, like, it will be your first approach, or you already had some approaches, what can actually happen when you approach, when you start talking to someone? So imagine, like, I'm just talking from my experience that I experienced 2 hours ago when I went outside, and everything that I'm trying to tell right now, it's kind of a compilation of everything that I tried to experience. I listened to Andy for all of these 2 hours on like 5-7 episodes of his podcast that were focused on this cold approach, and so it's kind of still in my head with a little bit more of my notions about it as well, and my experiences. So if you were quite trusty, or you didn't do it before, you will probably be really nervous. I was today. I didn't do single approach for 3 months. Before that, I had like 300, 360, something like that before. But after that, I got in a period that I focused on different things, and I didn't do that for a long time. And so, surprisingly, I didn't have a lot of. I posted out on a lot of girls today. Like, let's keep it clear. I walked outside for 2 or 3 hours today, and there were a lot of opportunities, and there were only one girl I approached. And when I did that, it was almost like I didn't feel this rush. I was like, okay, I am going out and approaching, and probably I suppressed a lot of emotions because it was so huge for me again. But when I started talking to her, I was completely nervous. I started just mumbling everything in. I don't think she even understood what I meant at the start. I was like, "Oh, hey, excuse me, like, you're really cute. I wanted to say that, and I'm really nervous right now, and I understand all of this, but I just wanted to say, like," I was talking like that, and she was kind of confused, but still, pretty receptive, and she was quite nice about it as well. And eventually I kind of calmed down and uh, tried to ask her some questions, but everything was so nervous, and eventually I just blurted out like, "Do you want to have a coffee sometime?" Like, I understand like everything. I cannot take talk properly, so do you want to have a coffee sometime? And yeah, she said like, "No, I'm not really interested," like in different ways, different way, but basically with that. And yeah, and I was like, I don't even know how to end this in my, and I was like, okay, that's cool. Gave her a high five and left. So think about this interaction. It was fucking awful. I think, like, I don't remember exactly, but it probably was on the level on my first couple of approaches. And yeah, I was feeling completely nervous. I forgot to mention my name at the start, so she even took initiative and did that. And it was really awkward interaction. And yeah, but it was still, while it was nervous, while it was awkward, it was still a little bit of fun. Like, I wouldn't say even a little. I should say it was really fun, because after that I just felt like all the interaction, we were kind of smiling awkwardly to each other and gave high five at the end, and like it still had a good of like positive energy, even though it was really nervous. But after it, I felt so cool. Like the interaction was awful, right? Like I didn't get a good response. I didn't convey myself properly. I almost couldn't talk. I didn't have any integrity at all. I was completely awkward and yeah, all of that. And still, it was something that I was really happy that I did. And it made me charged so much with this energy of this fun thing that's happening. Like, I really want to talk to people, to specifically girls, because I like this energy that they give to me. I like this exchange of whatever we have there. And so it was worth it. Any interaction, no matter. Look, I, in my 300 plus approaches, I had a quite couple of devastating to me interactions. For me, the most painful thing that a girl can do is not even rejection, it's not even try to hurt me, it's ignore me completely and just pretend that I'm not existing. That is my trauma. That is always with me, and it's always hard to experience that. So for me, it was really painful. And for a couple of days when I just did that before, it almost caused me to go back home after this interaction because I couldn't take it. It definitely affected me. So, yeah, sometimes the interactions can go bad. But most of the times, even if the girl doesn't really reciprocate to you, you still go, you still, you respect yourself because you did that. And that is the main point here. You're walking out there, especially if you don't have a lot of experience. I understand how it is really important at the start to feel this validation, to feel the results, to have some girl talk with you again, go on a date with you, and then sleep with you. Like, we all want that when we start approaching girls on the street, like in the daytime. That is the intention, and it is really important to have this result. But remember that ultimately, like, this will happen eventually. It is just inevitable. Like, you have so many chances, you just need to put yourself out there and keep going. I don't know how many approaches it can take. For me, it took, like, in total, probably 100 approaches. It was 69th nice approach in here in Belgrade, where I actually got a girl to really reciprocate to me, and we had an amazing sex afterwards, and we're still friends and good friends. But it just sometimes it can happen. Sometimes you need to go, and the next 300 approaches I didn't have much results from it. I had a couple of good things happening, but like not fully like I wanted. But it is okay. Like eventually it will happen because you will get better. You will get less. It's not a problem to be nervous, but you will learn some stuff, and it will be easier for you to do that. It will be more funny. It will be the results will be better. You will eventually go to the point where, yeah, you will find girls like that if you just keep going. But the why we doing this? It's not to like, yeah, the notion is to get laid. His notion is to go on a date and whatever, like have some girls be with you in one way or another in eventually. But I think that's the whole reason we are like, I would recommend to do cold approach, to talk with girls for yourself first and foremost, because that teaches you so much. You're learning the skill of approaching. You're learning the skill of being this, socially fluent. Maybe not in like usual social contexts, but with regards of approaching complete strangers and trying to talk to them. It can go awkward for a lot of time. Like for my 300 approaches, I didn't learn much. I trained some things and I definitely became a bit more confident and I could do it better. But I still, for most of the approaches, I was really nervous and stuck in myself and couldn't think about anything else to say, and just tried to ask her out, get her number and ask her on a date or something like that. But the point here is to keep going. You're gonna build that skill. You're building the skill here. You want to be able to do this. You're doing this firstly for yourself. And the girls that you will approach and give compliments and just talk, it is a fun thing to do. It may not seem like that at the start, but it is a fun thing to do. It's really fun to talk with some girl that you'd never seen before in your life. And then you're having some conversations with her. Then she wants to go on a date with you, and then she wants to sleep with you. It can feel so amazing to experience some of that. But it all starts from the skill of just talking with any girl that you really like. And that's what I want you to keep in mind. That's what I want you to focus on. Go there with the intention of talking to girl. It doesn't ultimately matter if you get results that day or in a month. It can feel frustrating. It can feel bad. I totally understand that. I am like that. I get you. But keep going. Be there. Some days will be really hard. Keep going on anyway. Stay out there. Stay outside with the intention of talking to girls for as long as you possibly can. That is all that's required to build the skill. You will eventually talk to some girls, you will eventually have some results, and your skills will be even further improved. You will have some rejections, and the skills will be improved as well. You will gain more confidence because, as much as rejections can seem scary, you will learn to handle them. some weird fears that come up after some time. For example, for me, the fear right now is I will not be able to guess the age of the girl correctly, and the girl I will end up approaching will be like not 18 years old, right? I mean, less than that. And that is that is like really scary for me. That's what I will do then. Can I even ask for age and all that? That is just a skill for me to learn. Maybe I will never be able to guess the age correctly, but I can always ask about it. One of the first questions. And that is for me something to learn for a while, because that for now it really stops me. Like other skills like talking, approaching girls in the groups, it may not be that hard. I had my biggest success from approaching two girls and talking to one of them, like just directly, basically ignoring the other and just talking to one of them, and just immediately straight from the bed asking her like, I think you're cute, let us get a coffee sometime or something like that. That was my biggest success. I would say like one proper success, but anyway. And you're just, it is a numbers game. It's all a numbers game. You never know how girls will react to you. You never know how, by their attitude, how they'll look like, how they appear to you. You don't know how they will actually interact with you. You only know that when you go there, you put yourself on the front line, you stop her, and you try to talk to her. Only then can you know. You cannot know beforehand. And so that's what I want you to do. At least that's what I want you to keep in mind always when you go in there. Another thing at the start, I think we will get to the point where this skill will be this our how we treat girls that are there somewhere that we don't know. I think at some point it will be quite easy to approach them in any situation if you will keep at it, if you train, and if you just keep practicing. And eventually it will become your nature. You will adopt it as a lifestyle, and that will be so cool. But before that, I found that the best thing happens when you go there. If you don't try to combine some of the goals together. So for example, what I mean by that is if you're going to some kind of distant place and you think about like, oh, I'm gonna go there, and while I'm going there, I'll try like it's like half an hour walk, and I try to approach some girls on the street. That is still a good thing to keep in mind, but that's not a proper commitment, because it's easy to go like skip some girls, like pussy out a lot, and eventually get to where you're going and have this idea that, well, I should have approached some of them, and now I am already here, I'm at my end destination, and I cannot continue to put pressure on me. Like, if you can do this, if you can combine it without any negative feelings after that, if you don't have any results, if you cannot approach any goals in that allotted timeline, if you are able to treat it as just an additional exercise, definitely go for it. But if you find yourself thinking about it like a loss, if you didn't do some result in this specific time slot, right? Then don't focus on it that much. You can still keep it in mind, but don't make it your priority. Don't make it like your goal is to get somewhere. It's not, you're not going out in that time with the intention of approaching girls. You're going out there with the intention to go somewhere, and that can mess with your head. Like, at least it messes with mine. So I want you to have the periods of time at the start. Like, I mean, eventually you shouldn't need that. You will integrate it into your life. But if you consider yourself a beginner at this, and I am definitely I am talking from the perspective of a person who kind of in the middle of it all. So what I want you to do, and what I want myself to do also when I will listen to this, is to have some specific time, allocate yourself some time when you only go there with the intention of talking to girls. That is the only thing. And it doesn't matter again if you get results or not. You're going out there with the intention. So think about it as time. Don't think about it like I have to do 10 approaches, I have to do 20 approaches. That can be cool as well, but I found for myself it is good push, but eventually it's just started like I started hating because of that. It was like, okay, I need to go like 5 additional approaches and that's it, and I'm gonna be free for the day. You know, I thought about it like that, and there was a lot of negative connotation with it, tied to it. But I think the better approach would be, if you find yourself in these situations, is to reframe it a little bit towards the time amount. So I'm going out there for 2-3 hours, like define the amount of time, maybe for an hour, with the intention of approaching girls. And that is all that matters. Then you don't focus on the results, you're focusing on interactions. You will probably have even better interactions because you're not aimed at more approaches. You don't want to like shoot them like 50 approaches a day every day and all that. That can be useful. Do that if you find it useful at the start. I definitely found it useful. But just as an alternative, if that seems more fun to you, just be there without any pressure to have results, but with the pressure of always having in mind that, okay, I'm here to meet some cute girls. I'm here to improve my sex life. I'm here to improve my skills in conversations and face my fears. That is why you're here. That is why you're outside. And keep that in mind. And keep going with this notion in mind. And then, guess what? You cannot fail. You are always winning. You are there for 2-3 hours, maybe more, maybe 5 hours. Doesn't matter. You are there and you push yourself all this time. You may have no results. You may have just kept eye contact with girls. You may have even couldn't do that, but you thought about it all the time. Or maybe you approached 30 girls and had a quite good conversation, got a couple of numbers, maybe like they will turn into dates in the future. But it doesn't matter what results you get, you always successful here, because the intention was to be out there for 2-3 hours with the intention of approaching girls, with talking to them. And you practiced that. You practiced being out there. You practiced facing your fears. That is the most important thing. Even if you will meet some girl in the middle of it, and you like go on Insta date somewhere, like, and you spend with some random girl that you just met a couple of hours of time, it still goes along with your plan. You're not breaking it. You know, like at the end of me of my like that approaching days 3 months ago, it was even probably 5 months ago. I had a couple of weekends when I went outside with the specific intentions of resuming my approaches, and I set myself a goal of, I don't remember, like 15 or 20 approaches a day, something like that. And it was really fun occurrence because I did that 2 weeks for 2 weeks, and every time, like, it was on Saturday, and first time it was probably like 14th approach, and I met a girl and we got on an Insta date and we ended up spending a lot of time together, like probably 5 or 6 hours, and ended up even at my place just talking. Didn't lead anywhere else, but it was still like a good, you know, so good situation. And the next week when I went out, it was like 7th approach out of 20, and it almost specifically exactly like that. Again, ending up at my place, just having like sexual energy and all, but didn't lead anywhere further. Like we were kissing a little bit, but that was it. But still, that is like I considered it a success still, but at the same time, somewhere in my mind it was like I wanted to do 15 approaches and I had to end up at like 12 or like 7 or something like that. And I could convince myself because I had so great results. But if, for example, I spent with that girl just like 3 hours in a cafe or something like that, and I didn't get any interest from her, in my mind it would probably have been like it was a waste of time. I could have approached different girls and tried to like get more, you know, get more numbers game and try some more people. But if you go there with the defined amount of time, you're not trying to rush anything. You're just there. You have this push inside of you that you're there to talk to girls because you're actually motivated by your desire, but by what you want to do, not but what you have to do. You don't have to approach any girls. You only have to be out there with the intention of doing that. But if you actually want to do that, if you want to, you see that girl that you really want to approach, and you do that, it feels completely different. It may not be perfect, you may not be successful, but I think you won't hate it. At least it's a good thing to try when you start hating all of this stuff. So, my endpoint is to get out of the house, stay out there with the intention of talking to girls for as much time as you possibly can. Don't focus on the results. Keep going as long as you can. Don't quit at the first sign of trouble or also at the first success. Keep going after some successes as well, because you never know what will it turn out to be. So it's better you are there to build your own experience, not to have one isolated girl that will want to sleep with you and that's it. You want to build the skill for your life. You want to make it your lifestyle. So that is all that required. And how you do that? Go out there with the intention of approaching girls. And I give you the permission to do that. I give you the permission to go for awkward approaches in the middle of a crowd, just talking with any girl that you think will be weird. Just go for it. I give you permission to do this. It doesn't matter if it will be awkward. It doesn't matter how it will turn out to be. Keep intention in mind that I am sure every one of you watching this, listening to this, still will want the girls to have a good time. You don't want to use them, right? So you want to be on the same team as them. You want her to have as much of a good experience as you are. So go there, be as much open as you possibly can, be vulnerable there, if it will be hurtful, that is okay, that will teach you something. If it will be awkward, if it will be really, really hard, it is okay. I am still there with you. I understand how you feel. I am going through the same things myself. And I am telling you that it is worth it. Keep going on. It is a skill worth learning, and it's the experiences that will stay with you for life. So I encourage you to continue to not worry too much about the girls that you miss out on. Also, I want to give you permission if, for example, some girl passed you by and you stood there as a dumbass for a minute or so, and you want, finally in your mind, you're like, okay, I really liked actually this girl, I want to talk to her, but it's already awkward. Like, how many time can pass, already passed, and what will she think, like, if I will chase her after, like, I don't know, like, in the street for a couple of minutes, and will she thinks it will be weird. I still, it will be okay. I give you permission to do that. You can tell her exactly, like, I was really nervous to approach you, and so I had to chase you, and like I had to run after you, like whatever. Like, you can think about something better to say, but it literally doesn't matter what you say. I mean, if you are having good intentions, and I believe you are, you just want both of you have a good time, then just be awkward as much as you are, be nervous as much as you are. It will still be okay. You are allowed to approach girls even if it completely, you know, completely stops you in the middle of it. It's still fun. Just keep going. In any situation, no matter how awkward it is, it's okay to approach. It's okay to state your intentions. Say that, okay, I just wanted to say you're cute, and I have no idea what to say next, but I'll try to think of something. You can say something like that as well. And some of these girls that you will approach will like that. I don't know how it is in other countries. I only had experience in quite conservative countries, basically only in Serbia. And it was kinda hard here. But it's also combined with the fact that I don't have a lot of experience and I don't have a lot of skill and I kinda suck at it. And I still got some results. So keep going. It will turn out to be good at the end, and it is a skill that will stay with you for life and help you in any way. So go there with the intention of approaching girls, and I allow you to approach any girls that you like and accept whatever comes out of it. Okay? I am here with you. I know how you feel, and that is okay. I understand. Keep going. And I'll end it right here. Stay on the street and try to keep talking to girls. That is worth it.